What's going on? This is Chris, and this is what I've been playing for the week. So it's basically a tale of two devices, more so leaning in one direction than the other, but I had to give a shout out to my big beautiful friend here, which is the Switch 2. I picked it up, probably on launch day. I think it was last Friday, and really just didn't get to touch it. I think did the software transfer, booted it up long enough to get everything downloaded. Still don't have an SD card, don't even have a screen protect at the moment, but I tried to choose between the games I hadn't played yet. I put in Pikmin 4 for a couple minutes here and there, and there was just too much going on. But we are back, and the first game I want to talk about is my first, hour or so with Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Absolutely charming. I had never played it on Switch 1. It was featured in my games I'm saving for Switch 2 video a couple months back at this point, and I love the concept. I adored Link's Awakening remake on the Switch 1, and I was stoked to jump back into that world, but also to finally play as Zelda in the mainline Zelda game. Obviously this is one of it's not quite isometric, but the top-down, people say 2D Zeldas, so a top-down Zelda, Link's Awakening, is the only one that I've actually put substantive time into of the genre, so I was excited to check that out. I was excited for a ground-up game in that engine. Obviously Link's Awakening was heavily based on the Game Boy game, and so far you can already tell there's a dedicated jump button. There are just amazing physics and things, plenty of dialogue, stuff that you couldn't have crammed onto a Game Boy cartridge. So I just played that for the first time this morning and was able to get in some truly locked in, giving the first hour a fair shake. It's a great feeling. There are some games that you can just pick up and play. I'll talk about that in a second. Some games that are like that, but if you're anything like me, I don't know if it's ADD, I don't know what it is, but I love getting that first good, sinking my teeth into a game, and then from there I can always kind of chip away at it. But that's what I got out of Echoes of Wisdom. But my real quick impressions of the Switch 2 is incredibly comfortable. The first day I had the same thought as a lot of other folks, how heavy it was compared to the Switch 1, just taking it out of the box, how big the screen is. But after a couple days away from it, quickly acclimated to it. It feels incredible, and the top of the controllers, it's so funny. I, for whatever reason, thought that there was more. I think it might be a little bit thicker towards the bottom of the Joy-Con, but it feels a lot more comfortable with someone with larger hands to hold. So I had no cramps in my hands that I would get playing action games in with the Switch 1. Especially the Switch 1 was a little bit more rickety. This is my Switch OLED that my fiance Sarah got me is a lot more, less battle tested, so that worked out pretty well. But yeah, we got bigger buttons, we got incredible feeling triggers, solid enough bumpers. They're just really loud, but haven't really put it through its paces yet. I will be picking up Mario Kart World soon, but yeah, that's kind of it for Switch 2 for this week, and it'll definitely play a role. I'm, at the time of recording this, 28 days from my wedding, and that means 30 days from my longest flight to date. I think 12 hours total going to Hawaii, so it'll be great to really put in some time on the Switch 2 in that regard, and then just completely unplug from everything else in the world. So very excited for that. Now, the star of the show this week, and probably leading up to my time off, is the ROG Ally, which had been collecting dust for quite some time. I had kind of just had it I wasn't as inspired by the games I had installed in my Steam library, but there are ones like Arkham Origins that I wasn't quite feeling at the moment, and Liza P that I was getting my ass kicked in, but I didn't want to uninstall them and lose my progress or have to reinstall them in the future. So I was kind of stuck and just didn't really want to touch my ROG Ally for a while. The battery life was killing me. I really felt like I was getting less than 45 minutes per session. And this is with 15 watts, which not turbo. What is 15 watts? Performance mode. There are not many games I can play on the silent 10 watt, Assassin's Creed 1 and parts of 2. I could really get in with the low performance, but for the most part, yeah, I need closer to the turbo these days. So, enter, I had messed around with Nvidia GeForce Now for a little bit, mostly on my phone actually though. All I noticed they had it was when they first announced that they were going to be bringing it to Steam, but they hadn't done it yet. That was, let's say, February or March maybe. I hopped on, tried it for a little bit. I played Sifu and absolutely loved it. I just never beat Sifu because I'm bad at video games, and I had a rough time. Like, I got to the very end with, I used Switch Joy-Con controllers on my phone. I used my laptop with a Xbox One controller. I was like so surprised with how well it worked. I just didn't get to beat the game, so I'm like super frustrated about that. And I dipped in and out of other games. I'm just looking at what I had played, and did some DLC for Assassin's Creed 3. I just finished that. I jumped into the DLC of another Assassin's Creed game that I'm blanking on. I had put in the first couple hours of Unity, but I was trying to play on my phone, and I was running into issues where it wasn't responsive enough, like on the subway, obviously. So that's pretty much it. Played a little bit of Saints Row the Third, but not enough to stick. Started back up South Park Stick of Truth. These are all things months ago, but I'm just looking at what I played. Blue Fire was like pretty cool, but like I was just messing with stuff, Doom 2016. Now, in Far Cry 4 I had put quite a few hours into, let's say 6 hours. But then I booted it back up this past week or so. Had no idea what I was doing in Far Cry 4. Decided to start over, or just start like a new game, and Evil West had just been on the most recent, I believe, Humble Bundles. If not this one, then the one before. And so finally checked out Evil West. Absolutely loving this game. Like, it's the visuals are incredible. The gameplay is truly, it reminds me so much of Gears of War, which Gears of War 3 is a top 5 game of all time. It's right after the Mass Effect games and probably 1 and or 2 of the BioShock games. It's like right up in there. The Gears trilogy, the original, is like truly like has a special place in my heart. I love that type of action. And it also, I'm trying to remember the other game that reminds me of so much. Gears of War was a big one. I've never played Call of Juarez, so it wouldn't be that, but it reminds me, and this might be a little backwards, it reminds me of God of War 2018's combat. Obviously not the incredible story as much, though this is pretty cinematic. It's just not the one continuous shot over the shoulder, but it does have a lot of, with the cooldown abilities, you're using your specials with all these different weapons. It has a lot of God of War 2018 that I haven't heard brought up with this game, and it came out shortly after. I'm trying to remember, 2022. So, Flying Wild Hog, I don't know, I might be mixing Flying Wild Hog up with the studio who did, oh my god, I just had it. The game that you had like a grappling hook that you'd leash people, and Bulletstorm. Oh my god, Bulletstorm. That's a different studio to my knowledge. It's not Flying Wild Hog, it's not People Can Fly. Maybe it's People Can Fly. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Oh my god, where am I going with this? Evil West has been really great to play a chapter in one sitting, and I was doing 2 chapters per day, 1 in the morning and 1 at night. And it was going super well, and I was like, honestly, this is shaping up to be like a top 20 of all-time game for me. Now, the only problem is, right now I'm in chapter like 11 or 12 out of like, not that many, I want to say 16, we'll say. Something like that. It's between 16 and 18. No, it wouldn't be 18. It would be 14 and 16 chapters. 14 zones, essentially, right? Now, the problem is, I know myself well enough to know that a game this kind of like demanding of your reflexes and your, action skills and patience and knowledge of the enemies and the systems and stuff, if I put it down and pick it up like, as soon as 3 weeks later, I might be like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and then have to start over 2 years from now. So I really want to stick with it. I set a goal to play 2 chapters per day, and it was great that I was kind of like going through it at what I thought was the perfect pace. But unfortunately, I'm starting to get a little fatigue. I'm finding myself kind of sighing when I run into, like, when I jump over a barrier into, what's clearly a little gladiator gauntlet type of thing. Wherever gladiators fight, a fighting pit type of environment. And there's some enemy types I hate. There's like, some zombie types that blow up, similar to the Lambent from, or the Tickers from Gears. So for better or for worse, they have that in common with Gears. But yeah, there's just some stuff here that was like, I was kind of outwearing its welcome, outstaying its welcome. And the story, some parts of it are great. Like, I love the main character, and like I love the doctor character. Basically, the engineer is like a little too like slapsticky for me. The bad guys, sometimes I'm like really in the mood for like the over the top, verbal insults, and sometimes I'm just kind of rolling my eyes, wanting to get back into the action. So the pacing is like just a little bit wearing on me, and I can't tell. We're leading up to the wedding. I've got a million things going on at work. The dog has been waking us up at 4:30 in the morning, so there's a lot going on with allergies. Nothing too crazy, but like he has been just like spitting up hairballs and shit. So I can't tell. I'm at a crossroads with Evil West where I'm not sure whether to push through it and finish the game and hope that it really catches me at the end. And the downside would be risk ruining the experience for myself, or do I give it a weekend and try to and commit to beating it next weekend when I don't know how that's going to go? I think the answer is I might play one chapter later, either this evening or tomorrow morning, just to see how I'm doing on it, and I might be able to finish it up, by Monday night or whatever. But it would be nice to kind of just like stick with it and listen to my brain and be like, all right, I need to just give it a couple days, but stick with it, rather than let it fall by the wayside. That would be disappointing. And I've had quite a few games, obviously on this platform, I told you, on GeForce Now, but quite a few games kind of fall by the wayside and not get beaten right in that like half to 2/3, maybe even 3/4 of the way beat over the last year. So I'd rather like add to the games that I've like truly beat. So that being said, I've been tag teaming Evil West. I'd started, I'll talk about this briefly because I really do like it, but it's a game I'm gonna have to keep playing, is Ori and the Blind Forest, Definitive Edition. But Ori and the Blind Forest, awesome so far. I've heard nothing but good things about the beginning and how emotional it is, and that's part of the reason I was waiting for the perfect time to start it. And there is no real perfect time, but it is awesome. It's very stressful to play, and I don't always know what I'm supposed to do next. I do worry. A Metroidvania is either my favorite type of game or least favorite, depending on what mind state I'm in. And unfortunately, Ori isn't always exactly clear about what you're supposed to do next or where you're supposed to go, and it's very challenging, and that can be very frustrating. And I haven't heard this game come up as like a very, like a lot of a lot of folks that don't necessarily play like hardcore crunchy like 2D platformers really loved this game, but maybe they didn't play it all the way through. I don't know, but I haven't heard anybody talk about the challenge, so I worry about that a little bit. I think this is gonna be a slow burn game. I play like once a week when I'm really just like have a mug of tea, it's raining outside, I'm feeling like being whatever about it, but other than that, I can't rush. There's not even really chapters. Like, I guess there are sections of the level, but I'm not trying to beat one of those a day by any means. I'll freak out. Anyways, so it doesn't work for every game. But a game it does work for is the last game we'll talk about today, and that's Mafia 3, in this case Definitive Edition. Since I'm not playing on console, I did start this the previous week or maybe the week before on X. I bought the disc for Xbox One on Redbox probably when I was in senior year of college, or when I had moved back home right before I got my first apartment. I used to go to Redbox, and whenever they would have like sales on games, Xbox One at the time, I would pick them up. And I don't think I've beat a single one of those games, so this was going to be my first. Unfortunately, I was having the issue. I was remote playing. That's what made me pick up the ROG to begin with, now that I say it out loud, is they had the Xbox Game Showcase. They had the Xbox handheld that was the ROG Ally. I was like, I should use this as like a Xbox remote play device. Might as well. Hopefully my thought was hopefully that's going to use less battery. It was working okay, but for whatever reason, the game was super buggy to begin with. It kept crashing. There were just inconsistencies, and then after an hour, maybe two, every cutscene would be blank when remote playing, and that could be a bug, that could be a DMCA or whatever. It could be a copyright thing, but the character, like, I'd be walking through the door and he would just freeze like this, and then you could hear the audio of the cutscene, but you couldn't watch it. And I had missed like a very pivotal cutscene. I was like, I'll go back and watch these later, but like the one I was listening to, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna miss this. So ended up starting it again on GeForce Now, and I don't regret it at all. I've already passed where I initially was, so sometimes, you know, stuff like that's annoying, and I worried I was going to lose my momentum, but if anything, it barreled me past where I already was. I was able to skip the cutscenes that I already watched before it stopped working, and I was able to really enjoy one of the craziest cutscenes I had seen in a while, which was the one that was really the breaking point, and it was just one of the, you know, I'm not gonna say what it is, but loving Lincoln Clay as a character so far. I think this is the first time really like talked about like story stuff on any of these games. Obviously, I love Zelda and her fun portrayal, but Lincoln Clay, love controlling him. He's an absolute powerhouse compared to the other two protagonists of the Mafia series. I guess for those of, I don't know if I would have ever talked about Mafia Definitive Edition on this channel, but that was forever ago, and it was whatever. Mafia Definitive Edition Elite game, I would say a 9 to 9.5 out of 10. You know, a 10 out of 10 in my heart. It was incredibly polished, very I mean, I don't know how faithfully recreated it is. I never played the original, but very dramatic, incredible story, and incredible cutscenes and delivery of lines, and visuals were stunning, even just playing natively on the ROG on Steam. So I don't even know how this would have looked on like a PS5 Pro, but oh my god. Love Mafia Definitive Edition. And then Mafia 2 Definitive was like definitely not nearly as good, but very impactful. I think of the story quite often. Some really key parts, how it ends for sure, and then how a character you know runs into a different gang is like gruesome. Absolutely, like will haunt me forever. Like one of the scenes in Mafia 2, but ultimately a step down from 1 Definitive. I love is it Tommy Angelo? I feel like I'm gonna get something wrong. It's Tommy for sure. Angelo sounds right, but it might be a slightly different last name, and I apologize in advance. And then there's Vito Scaletta, love him. And yeah, it's very cool to see the connection from 2 to 3. I love the connections from 1 to 2 in Mafia 2 Definitive, so seeing some characters pop up in 3 is very cool. And yeah, I'm liking the characters so far. I know folks have complained about the structure of Mafia 3 and how you have to kind of break down the rackets. I'm enjoying it. I'm personally in the part of my life where I'm utilizing this as like a Ubisoft game, a checklist type game similar to Assassin's Creed. You know, you do the things leading. It's very similar to Assassin's Creed 1. You're doing the things that lead up to getting you the information. Oh my god, there's a lot there actually. You do the interrogations, you scope things out, you take away some of the resources to get them to come out of hiding, and then you ultimately have the showdown. In this case, you can choose whether or not you want it. There's no consequences so far from what I've seen for keeping folks versus killing them. I've kept most people just for a little bit more money that I don't even end up seeing. And also the 5-second rant. I hate the system where you lose half the money in your wallet every time you die, because I haven't bought anything yet, but it's just so annoying. I finally can have somebody pull up so I can stash my money, but at this point I've lost so much that I'm like, I don't even care about it anymore. It's so incredibly frustrating. So there's aspects for sure that I wish they wouldn't have updated that in the Definitive Edition. That was like their vision for the game. But I'm not letting it distract me from an incredible story. Like, I love the cutscenes, the interstitials of like treating it like a true crime documentary. Let's see, this came out 2016. So yeah, I guess that would have been like when some of these podcasts were coming out, probably a little bit before the Netflix true crime stuff. But excellent presentation style. Glad I'm getting to see the cutscenes. And it's great for kind of just turning my brain off. The driving is great. I love driving in the Mafia games. It's providing a little bit of that GTA 6, feeling that I'm missing. The folks that are gonna get, say it's not even close, I understand. And I'm very excited. For those of you who may not know, I went to PAX East, 2025, and went to a panel hosted by Greg Miller about Mafia, the Old Country, and that's what really made me want to play. The announcement of Mafia the Old Country made me play 1 and 2, I believe. I think that's definitely what made me play 2. And I think that's what started it. I was like, I gotta play these damn games. And here we are now. It's coming out this fall, and it's one of my most anticipated games of the year. It truly looks like the next step up. It looks like some Uncharted DNA. It looks like Uncharted was the big one. There's other games I'm blanking on. Some Assassin's Creed here and there. some Prince of Persia. Like, there's some stuff there that I can't wait for it, but and we'll see. I don't really know like what I'm gonna do about it. It seems like it'll be coming to GeForce Now, but I'm not trying to really pay full price for it. I've been playing all these games through Steam at this point, so it feels I would probably get it on PS5. Or it's coming out early enough that Take-Two might make it, you know, $42 on Black Friday. We'll see how I'm feeling. I think it'll probably be a shorter game, but it'll also be an incredible game. But I don't think I'll get it at launch. No. I have so many games physically and digitally and through GeForce Now and everything that it's hard to be day oneing these games just for no reason. So the only game that's worked out so far for is Expedition 33, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, because there's no way I would have been so intimidated by this like 10 out of 10 classic, you know, French JRPG, and getting it day one kind of made me not want to get spoiled. But I can't do that for every game. I'm trying to think of one other game that some of the classic stuff that came out that I got day one, give or take, like the Suikoden collection. I think I got pretty early. I don't know when the hell, you know, I'm going to be able to prioritize that. The only good thing, well, the main good thing about having some games like that on GeForce Now is that might free up the PS5 or the PS4 even to be able to have a daily check-in. Right now I'm playing, I didn't even mention this, Yakuza 0. I'm chipping away at that. I just finished chapter 10 of Yakuza 0. It's such a long damn game. I would love to be able to get one chapter done per day. It's just some of the chapters early on are like 2 hours. So I don't think that's feasible at all, especially because you're reading subtitles. You have to kind of like be in that perfect like melodramatic mood where things are a little crazy, but they're also dark and serious. And you know, I've found when I'm very stressed, I'm just not in the mood for like that ping pong back and forth between zany and dead serious. So, but something like Suikoden, something like Sea of Stars, or what just came out, Lunar, the remastered versions, like I would love to play that in the Portal. And you know, basically I've told you like what I've been doing is on the couch I'm using the ROG and streaming games, and you know, when I can really get like 30 minutes like in a dark room, I'm gonna play the Switch 2. That's kind of like the plan for this upcoming week. I think I'm gonna keep chipping away at Mafia 3. We'll see how far I get in it. I'm not gonna rush it. I think playing it, let's see, we're at mid-June right now, so I think I can effortlessly finish Mafia 3 by the end of the month, and I'll definitely have Evil West done. I don't know if I'll cycle in a third game. Some games on the docket, Resident Evil 2 Remake, I've really wanted to play, but that would kind of take the place of... That wouldn't take the place of Evil West as much as it would take the place of, like, you know, a Zelda, so maybe not that. I have Soul Reaver, 1 and 2, I believe. I have Chia. Oh, Dungeons of Hinterberg could be good for the couch. That could be an Evil West equivalent. Dishonored, I think I have to be too locked in. I've noticed that where I'm very immersed when playing that game. Watch Dogs 2 is a little bit too long for... Oh, Wanted Dead would be really good, actually. That's an action game. One of those games would probably be best. Psychonauts, I'd pay too much attention to the writing to be able to just kind of play it on the couch. Mortal Shell just got announced. The sequel just got announced, but Souls-like on the couch, I'm just too crazy to be able to enjoy that. Far Cry 4 is actually probably the right answer as well. So Dying Light. Far Cry 4 is the right answer. The backup option being Wanted Dead 100% as like an AA action games similar to Evil West. And I will go from there. But honestly, it was just really nice to be able to talk about the games I've been playing. I've been, you know, wanting to just regularly do this, but I kept trying to beat the games first. It wasn't working. So if all I have to say about Zelda's, I loved the first hour, been great. I have that chronicled on this video, and I'm not going to be recording my own gameplay at the moment for these type of videos. So I'm going to do a review. Maybe I can get some gameplay clips if I'm going to do like a gameplay, like a let's play highlight reel of me playing, you know, one of these Xbox games I picked up from PAX, then great. But for these weekly videos, what I've been playing, you know, just want to sit down, talk about games. So Thank you so much if you made it this far. Let me know what you've been playing 100%. I gotta lead with that next time, but shaking off a little bit of the rust. But thank you so much. I'll catch you in the next one later.